Comments up. John Kruger is the first one in the chat. What's going on? Appreciate y'all tuning in. Those tuned in digitally, live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. We are at Hall's Chophouse, Columbia, South Carolina. We're out here yet again. I'm joined by my good friend Jeff O'Hara, a.k.a. Cox by 90. You see the fantastic service we have here at Hall's Chophouse, and my good guy Matt to my left. So Big Spur 843. Fellas, what's going on? We are sitting here just 25 hours away from the beginning of the Shane Beamer era. It's crazy. We finally made it. The countdown is basically over as South Carolina's 2021 football season will begin tomorrow at Williams-Brice. Again, 7 o'clock kickoff against EIU. Again, I'll start with Jeff. Jeff, appreciate you having me out, man. It's great to be with you once again. And, of course, we were at Rita's just a couple of weeks ago. And like I said, Matt, good you accompany us as well. We're going to talk some Gamecocks football. We might talk a little bit gambling. I know these guys have got some of their plays tonight, tomorrow, Saturday. We might dive into that. But, fellas, it's great to be here for sure, man.
Yeah, it's always great to be here. And first off, thank you, Billy, Hall's Chophouse, for having us out here. It's always a great opportunity. It's always great to be able to talk Gamecock football anywhere, but right here with the State House in the background, Main Street, it just feels like this is the perfect spot to do it. So I'm very thankful for you all giving us that opportunity to do that. I'll tell you this. Last night, we were at the Beamer Live call-in show. The Backstreets bartenders and waitresses and waiters said that was the most people they've ever seen there. The excitement around the Beamer program, like you said, 25 hours away till kickoff. It just is a breath of fresh air right now, and it's breathing life into a city and a fan base that has had a couple tough years, to say the least. And so I'm just excited. I cannot wait to be around 80,000 Gamecock fans tomorrow in the tailgate. I'm ready, baby.
How you feeling, man?
I'm excited. Last time you guys did the show up here, I actually got to sit at the table and watch it from a distance, so it's actually pretty neat to be sitting up here this time and joining you guys. Fantastic shows, great location. Halls is absolutely amazing. I love coming up here. But, yeah, tomorrow, we've been sitting here for an entire year of a limited capacity in the stadium. I was there last year. It was still fun. It somewhat felt like, okay, hey, football's back. But this year you're getting back to full stadiums, full capacity with a coach that, if you look back 5 years ago to the Will Muschamp hire, right? We looked at that, and I really didn't see that much excitement coming into a new era of Carolina football. But now it just seems a complete 180 from what we saw 5 years ago. Everybody's up. Columbia's happy. Like you said, last night, everybody's showing up there to the call-in show, but tomorrow's going to be exciting. I see a full stadium, full crowd, rowdy. It's going to be great.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be special. And, speaking on that call-in show, it was slammed. It was packed. It was really cool, Frank Beamer being there and being able to hear him, the legend he is. I mean, you could just tell his impact when he spoke. The entire backstreets got really, really quiet, and everybody tuning in to what Frank Beamer had to say. It was a really, really cool thing. But, again, really excited again to be out here at Hall's Chophouse. Appreciate former Gamecocks defender, do it all, man. Corey Miller out here as well, friend of the show, and appreciate him stopping by. Like I said, we've got a little crowd formulating here. 6:03 on a Friday, September the 3rd, here at Hall's Chophouse in downtown Columbia, just off of Main Street. Like I said, I get to the point, Jeff and Matt, where I don't know if it's because, in college football you don't have a preseason like, a lot of the other sports. It's just, you get in such this preseason mode. You get such in this mode if you spend the entire preseason breaking things down, previewing it, and counting down the days, and it's almost like it's surreal. It's like, oh, we're actually going to play tomorrow. I see tomorrow as well. I know we're going to get into the game, obviously, in EIU, maybe make some predictions and stuff like that, but I see tomorrow being so much bigger than just a football game.
Yeah.
I really view it as the football game is more so symbolic of what the day means, the last 8-9 months, whatever, all kind of coming to a head. We've all, all the welcome home stuff, and everybody's been, really excited and just excited for this new era and everything. But tomorrow's kind of like a celebration for that, this brand new era beginning. And, hope's not a strategy, certainly, but if you don't have hope, you don't have anything. And Gamecocks football and Gamecock fans finally get to have hope again in their program and what's to come under Shane Beamer.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to ask you all. Like, what are the emotions going through you right now? 25 hours away. I mean, how you feeling?
Just ready to kick the ball off. I mean, at least for me personally, I've dissected, broke this thing down. You can ask David. He tunes in. Sound guy David. Shout out to David. By the way, shout out to Phil Harris for the super chat. Phil, appreciate you. Phil, spot the dang ball. I agree.
I love that. I love seeing everybody chat.
Yeah. So really, really cool. Again, those two individually appreciate it. But for me, it's just, I'm excited, obviously. I'm anxious, not nervous, very confident. I think this team's it's going to be a very fun night tomorrow night. But just ready to see South Carolina spot the ball. And there are so many questions for this football team. The only way we're going to get an answer is to go on the field between the white lines and let it play out. But obviously really, really excited, pulling for Shane, pulling for this team, no duh. But, want to see a successful season, just get to 6 wins, find a way to get to a bowl game. We've been talking about that over and over and over again. And but, obviously, man, just overjoyed and excited. And obviously last night I was talking to you with, getting to shake Coach Beamer's hand and him coming up to us and saying what he said and that he appreciated what we were doing. That's something he doesn't have to do, and Shane's been a genuine dude since day one. So just excited, like I said. We've dissected, we've broken the thing down, we've made predictions, we've made projections, and it's like I get to a point at least, it starts hitting me about 2 or 3 weeks before kickoff. I'm like, I love the preseason content, but I'm like, God, I'm so tired of I feel like I'm just starting to repeat myself over and over. Let's just spot the damn ball.
And it's let's call it what it is. It was the honeymoon stage for the last 9 months, right? Shane has had every opportunity to engage the fan base, engage recruits. We've got the new coaches in the building that are breathing life, that are just born garnet and black coaches. A guy like Kimry there, right? There's so many different things that we've been looking forward to, and it's finally here. But the honeymoon phase is over. It is rubber is meeting the road at 7:00 tomorrow night, and it's going to be. I'm just curious to see how Gamecock fans are going to react when the times might get a little tough.
Yeah.
Because it is. We got to call it what it is. We're a 2-8 football team and a 4-8 football team the last 2 years. We've literally won 6 games over the course of the last 22. So I think it's very important that the fans realize.
Have perspective. Just have perspective, if nothing else. And I was going to say, Matt, this team's going to hit adversity. They're going to hit rocky roads, but it's okay. It's year one of a brand new era.
Could you have asked for a better situation for Beamer to come into his first season as head coach, right?
Believe it or not, I've seen people on social media complaining about this game. We shouldn't be playing EIU. Does EIU belong on the same field as South Carolina? No, but like you're saying, this is the perfect season opener for a new era.
This is a chance for a team to kind of figure out who they are, right? You're coming on to a really hyped off season, a new coaching staff coming into the season here against a really bad, I wouldn't really say bad, but a very low-level FCS opponent, right? So you could just open up the season with that Tennessee or with that North Carolina game or NC State or teams that we played before in the Mustang era, but you get to open up against a way less caliber team than you are, which is perfect for a new coaching regime, a new team, right? You see the confidence in the players. I don't know if you've noticed, but in a lot of the interviews they've been having, the smiles are going, the jokes, and they're laughing and picking up the culture here that Beamer has established has just been, completely different from what we had in the previous regime. But if you're going to open up with an EIU game, and then rolling into ECU, you couldn't have done any better than this start to a new era. Let's go out there tomorrow, kind of find out who we are, run some plays, make things look efficient, and we'll go into the ECU game the week after that. But I'm excited for what Beamer's got coming.
Yeah, can you imagine if South Carolina's debut for Shane Beamer, the opener, was a game in Charlotte? I think we'd riot.
That would have been tough.
I'll tell you what I do miss. I miss the Thursday night openers. That was for me, the Gamecocks. You were the team that was known to open college football, so I'd say I do.
I do too. It's a great opportunity to just put your program on a platform and national TV. You're the biggest game of the night. All eyes are on you. It's great for recruiting, obviously. Maybe Shane will bring that back. Who knows? Maybe he'll bring back the Thursday nighters because those were fun under Spurrier. I will say that was kind of his thing. It was like every year we were playing.
Every year, and I think that at the end of the day, that was you were building. It's bigger than the Jimmies and Joes and the X's and O's. When you're trying to build a program and you're trying to get your face, the Gamecock, building your brand. Yeah. That Thursday night opener was an opportunity for the world to see the Gamecocks play the first football game of the season.
How many people would really watch Nebraska play Illinois if it wasn't on Thursday afternoon?
Last weekend was tough. I'll tell you, it was. I loved college football opening up last weekend, but that was tough to watch.
But we're talking about those Thursday night games, right? That week 0, being able to get out in front of everybody like we used to do with a Thursday night before Saturday, it was the one chance for the entire country or a lot of people in different networks that wouldn't watch your game to be able to see you, that publicity you've had at the very beginning of the season.
For sure. Austin Greer texted in, he says, if we start 2-0, I will fully convince myself we are going to beat Georgia, the life of a Gamecock fan. So, yeah. Hey, the eternal optimist. You have to be hopeful. You have to have hope. You have to be optimistic. And that is the life of a Gamecock fan. Somebody just commented, by the way, Blacksburg is rocking. Yeah, Vatex sold out against UNC. That game on right now, of course, we'll be cutting that on as soon as we get off of here. But great night for college football, great weekend for college football. And again, yeah, I'm just excited, man, overall, the beginning of the Shane Beamer era and having hope. And that you brought up, though, when this team hits the tough times, not if, when, because it's going to happen. Adversity is going to come. Even if you go out there and you smoke EIU and you have a really successful game against ECU, you're going to run into the Georgias. You're going to have to play Florida. You're going to play Kentucky. You're going to play Mizzou. You're going to play Auburn. And, we've talked about all the positive momentum and positive energy and this and that. Positive momentum is not going to beat Georgia. That alone will not. You're going to have to go out there, play football, play the grind of an SEC schedule, execute. And I'm excited to see, and it's something, one of my keys for tomorrow, something I've talked about a lot is obviously tomorrow is going to be really, really emotional. And I think it's been really cool how open Shane Beamer has been about, his thoughts running out to 2001. And you can tell what it means to him. Obviously, I loved what he said this week. He's like, I could give you this coach speak that it's just another game. He's like, that's bullcrap. It's not just another game. It's not for him, right? But I want to see a football team laser focused, locked in. I feel like the last couple of years, and it's easy to nitpick this type of stuff when you're not winning, but I've just seen a team that gets way, way too high when they win and way, way too low when they lose and when things don't go well. And I'd like to see an even keel football team just go out there, execute, expect to win, do your job, execute the fundamentals. And if you do that in a game like this, I think you're going to look up at the scoreboard when it hits zeros, and it's going to have been a pretty fun night at Willie B for the guys in Garden Black for sure.
You know what? I'm just looking forward to, I think, it's a little simple thing, like the Gamecock walk. Like, what does a Beamer team look like going down the Gamecock walk, right? Are they dialed in, are they focused, are they loose? Those are things that I think we take for granted, right? That having that opportunity to be able to do that this year, full capacity stadium, there's just so many different opportunities, I think, for fans to engage tomorrow with the team. And it's going to be just a magical night, I think, because, again, opportunity to open up against a team you should pick your number and beat. But, shoot, tomorrow I'm just looking forward to tailgating, having a good time. And then, like Gamecock walk. Is that just something that it brings everybody together? So, God, it's here. I mean, we're less than 24 hours or right up 24 hours away.
Yeah, I mean, if you go into it, it's been 2 years since you've really had that opportunity to do things that we're used to doing on game day, right? I mean, when it comes to the game itself, you're not really going to learn a lot about this team tomorrow. Right. You're not. I mean, it's the inferior opponent. You're not going to learn what you expect to learn coming out of a normal game.
You can't draw conclusions.
You can't. There's no way. But I just want to see the excitement really that's coming out of the team. The fans is going to have the excitement. It's been there. It's been there since Beamer got hired, right? But I want to see the team play hard. I just want to see them, enjoy football again, because it feels like even the players in the last couple of years, except for the self and about me, right? The team really hasn't enjoyed playing football just as much as the fans haven't enjoyed watching it in the last 4 years.
Now, did you go to any games last year, Matt?
Went to every one of them.
You went to every single? Okay.
Every one of them. I didn't miss a game.
You didn't miss a game either. I went to a couple. I went to Georgia, Mizzou, and then went to LSU, which is awesome. But I do agree with you what you said in that, there was a football season last year for sure. Thank God we were able to get some sort of football, but it almost feels like tomorrow is the first football game in 2 years, because last season just felt very strange, very empty. I remember walking out to like the tailgate lots for the Tennessee game, and my buddies were out there, and I just remember walking out there and thinking, like, this is so – it had an ominous
– It was an eerie feeling.
Right, very eerie.
My parents came to that game, and we had a huge setup, but it was like, there's no tents. You couldn't really – it just didn't feel like Gamecock football, and I think that bringing all that back tomorrow, like I think it'll hit me when I'm driving down Rosewood and about to turn onto George Rogers Boulevard that football is back here. And the fact of the matter is, when you're looking at just bringing people together, I mean, that's just what we missed, right? That opportunity to see friends, family, people that you only see 7 games out of the year in Columbia. We get to do all that tomorrow. I'm just very thankful for that opportunity to have it back, because sometimes you don't realize what you have until it's gone. So.
It's not normal when you have a modified 2001 trying to come into the stadium for every game. So.
Yeah, it was strange. But again, we get it back tomorrow. Obviously we can sit here and talk about the game against EIU and all that stuff. But like I said, there's so many things happening outside of the game with just the tailgates. Man, I just can't wait to see a packed tailgate again. That's going to be incredible. I mean, just the hustle.
How about the Rowdy Rooster tailgate we had right there with the regional? I mean, I think that was the most equivalent we had gotten to a good tailgate in 2 years.
Yeah, and you think it's going to be that times like 1,000 tomorrow. I mean, from what I've seen, at least from Gamecock fans on social media and everything, I mean, people are just obviously itching to get out there. And, I don't know. What do you think? You think it's going to be a sold-out house tomorrow night? I've had a lot of people ask me. I don't expect 80,000 in there, which, in case you guys didn't know, capacity for Willie B is actually now 77,250 or 500.
Don't tell anybody that.
Yeah.
Don't tell
Let's just say 80K. I don't think you'll get a full 80,000
screaming Cock fans.
I think you'll see a good crowd there tomorrow night. Again, it's tough in 2021 for anybody to sell out. Even teams that are winning every single week hard to sell out. But I mean, I think you're going to see probably the best crowd for an SEC FCS game you've probably ever witnessed.
Ever.
You still got 10,000 road tickets that were sold, right? So those top corners of the upper decks, I don't really see many people sitting up there for those road tickets, and maybe their section too. But yeah, why don't you just go ahead and move the scoreboard up, put that triple deck in the student side, close everything in, and
I'll tell you all this. I'm not a big weather talker when I'm on the air, but right now it just feels sexual out here. And I cannot wait till tomorrow night about how good it's going to be feeling. Yeah. I'll tell you, you got that fall in the air the first weekend. I mean, typically we're like trying to pulse ourselves to make sure that we don't pass out because of how hot it is. So, I don't know, this feels dang good up here. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, there's a crispness in the air right now. It's Beamer. The winds of change, my friend.
What about this? Now, let's talk about a little on-the-field action. What player, offense and defense, are you all most looking forward to seeing tomorrow?
I'll let you go, man. Go ahead. You go first.
Juju McDowell. Kind of excited to see what he's going to do. I know he's a little bit down the depth chart, but he's been raved about in the entire fall camp, especially those runs. Everybody's seen him on Twitter and on the social media and busting over 260-yard runs, right? So I'm excited to see what he'll do. And I'm going to throw one more offense in there is Marshawn Lloyd. He's been committed for so long, and we haven't seen him on the field since he committed in May of 2018, right?
19.
Yeah. So it's been a long time. Defensively, Tyrese Ross. I kind of want to see what he's going to do as that secondary guy coming from another Power 5 team. He's got a lot of raves, big hitter. Is he one of those big hitter guys, I'm going to hit you now, and I might miss later, right? Or is he going to be one of those guys who can really hold down a much depleted secondary unit that we need bodies and need people to step up a lot? So.
Yeah, I'd say for me, my answers are pretty typical. I'd say offense, Marshawn Lloyd. I just think, I think most of us believed. I mean, I love Kevin Harris. It's no slight to Kevin Harris at all. How much does he play tomorrow? Probably not a ton, but wouldn't shock me at all if Marshawn Lloyd is your number one running back by season's end. I mean, we're talking about a guy, again, the highest rated running back prospect to step foot on campus. And it's a guy named Marcus Lattimore, wore the garnet in black. So not too shabby. I'm very curious to see Marshawn Lloyd, his first action as a Gamecock, and obviously all the adversity he's battled with the injury stuff and everything. So coming back. So offensively, I would say Marshawn. Defensively, I'd probably say Jordan Birch. I think he's a guy that's going to take a step this year. He needs to take a step. And, after talking to Brad Loing a couple of weeks ago, obviously stars are not everything, and recruiting is and the recruiting services and the rankings are very interesting. Of course,
that was hilarious. That was hilarious.
Wow.
I mean,
yeah. Brad Loing did not hold back.
Chris Gulliver wanted to be a 4-star. Brad Loing got to be a 4-star. He wanted to be a 5-star. You got to be a 5-star.
Baffling story. Anyways. So, but Jordan Birch is a guy, again, highly rated player, 5-star guy. And at South Carolina, I just really believe, again, it's not all about stars, but you don't get enough 5-stars on a yearly basis at this point in your program to miss on those guys. So I'm actually talking about a pair of 5-stars with Marshawn Lloyd and Jordan Birch. These are guys that need to step up and be big-time players for you. Obviously, the defensive line, it's going to be the strength of defense. We talked about them a lot, but Jordan Birch is a guy I really want to see take that next step and become a playmaker. I think he's going to be utilized the correct way, and I think you're going to see that pan out. So it's funny. I wonder. I'm curious who yours are because neither one of us have mentioned Zeb Nolan and
September.
The Zeboni.
I will tell you all this, and I'm hoping this headline never has to hit the news, but wake me up when September ends. I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
Please
but
don't.
I will tell you
on a T-shirt.
Wake me up when September ends. But I'll tell you this. So defensive-wise, I got a guy, Jordan, but I'm going Jordan Strong. I think that you bring a guy in from Georgia State, led or tied for the lead FBS in sacks with 10.5. We've got some depth on the outside. And I think, you got Aaron Sterling, you got JJ, you got Birch, and then obviously you got Strong. I'm curious to see what kind of impact he can make early, right? ESPN dropped their draft-eligible guys. He was rated number 5, outside linebacker eligible draft for the entire, obviously FBS. And I think that a player like that, can he come in, making an immediate impact, get pressure on the quarterback? Because that's something we've been lacking the past couple of years is a really good rushing attack it's refreshing to see a lot of different names. Pickens, Birch, JJ, Aaron Sterling. But Strawn's a guy for me, I think that I'm really excited to see what he can do. On offense, I went to the spring game here, and this player, I want to give you all two. I'm going to go with one, though. Jaheim Bell. Jaheim Bell was lined up as a running back. He was just such a Swiss Army knife out there. I'm curious to see how many times we can get the ball in his hands because he's an absolute playmaker. I think he's somebody that is going a little bit unnoticed. You got Nick Muse. I call Nick Muse a poor man's Travis Kelce, and that's no fault to Nick Muse. I see a lot of similarities. I think Nick Muse is a great tight end. But Jaheim Bell is really going to be an X factor for us, right? That H-back that you can come jet sweep around. I mean, he just can make so many different plays. So Jaheim Bell on the offense is, I think people are really, I don't want to say discounting him, but you're just not hearing his name enough where I think he's going to be that big of an impact player on this offense. And it could be starting tomorrow night with catches, running the, jet sweeps and things like that. So
now, speaking of these players, and again, we're going to get more in-depth on field, but I'm curious for both of you, the depth chart did drop this week on Tuesday. Were there any surprises from you guys in regards to the depth chart? Anything stand out to you specifically, whether it be you were surprised to not see a certain guy somewhere or just where they were listed? Was anything that stood out to you in the depth chart?
Jalen Dickerson, starting safety. I thought that, again, 2 years ago in the spring game, ESPN had him as one of the top players in all of the spring as far as incoming recruits. And, obviously injuries have knocked him off. But to see him ascend back to the top of the depth chart at safety, not to say that I wasn't surprised, but I'm just happy for the fact that he's been able to put it together. And I'm curious to see what a healthy Jalen Dickerson can do because that back seven needs all the help that they can get.
Yeah, I think mine's more out of the receiver core, right? We already knew that Jalen Brooks and Dak Joyner and Josh Vann were pretty much the 1, 2, 3, right? But you look at guys like Xavier Legette, who's been in this program for, it feels like forever. He's only a junior, but he's been here at Ortray, and Ortray's been here for a long time too. You look at guys who's been here who had that potential, right? Even Josh Vann really hasn't panned out at this point to what we expected him to be. He's an All-American, four-star recruit down to us in Georgia. But the wide receiver core has been one that's kind of been out for me. We already knew the 1, 2, 3, but guys like Xavier Legette, who's had opportunity after opportunity to step up to be that number one guy who's now sitting behind other guys who's there. And then you look at Ortray Smith. I know he sat out last year too, but you got a guy who's 6'4", 6'5" wide receiver who's shown flashes and shown those potentials, but he's never had that chance to step up. I'm curious to see who after those three, Van, Brooks, and Dak. And if Dak hopefully gets the ball in his hands more this year than he used to, who's going to be the next guy? Who's going to be the one that really comes up? Because we put names on there of people who's been here forever, but who's going to be outside those three receivers who steps up to put a name out there for himself as a weapon for us outside? I don't know at this point really who that's going to be.
You know what? I will say this, and we talked a little bit about it on Wednesday night. Xavier Legette's a name that last season we were expecting him to be the number one receiver.
I picked him as my breakout player last year.
I had him going for 1,000 yards last year. I thought you were just hearing that many good things about him. What I did like to see is he's number 2, right? So he hasn't knocked himself all the way down the depth chart. He's a guy that you're going to rotate 6'5" receivers anyway. But I think Xavier Legette's another name people were sleeping on that could potentially come in and make an impact.
Well, it's like Matt said earlier. I mean, you're not going to be able to draw conclusions from an EIU. You're not going to be able to, learn anything necessarily. But I am curious to see the wide receivers tomorrow night and just somebody start to establish themselves as that playmaker, as that go-to guy. Because again, it'd be very easy for South Carolina. You could probably run every single play tomorrow night and win pretty comfortably. But this is an opportunity for South Carolina to pitch the ball around a little bit, as Coach Prairie would say. Just pitch it around the yard a little bit and get some guys some confidence. Like at least have experienced the feeling of having success and catching the football and yards after the catch and scoring a touchdown. You know what I mean? Because if you can't throw the ball against EIU, who are you going to throw it against? You know what I mean? So I'm going to be really interested to see Marcus Satterfield's offensive game plan because, like I said, I think early on especially establish when you're going to win at the point of attack. You should dominate in the trenches. I think establish it there. You can break a team's will by moving the line of scrimmage repeatedly. I expect to see him do that, but I'll be interested to see how much of a balance there is because, again, I think it would be smart and be wise to take advantage and pitch it around a little bit because I don't know. I don't know who's going to step up on the outside and be the number one guy. We got a bunch of guys out there right now. We got to find us some dudes. Is it going to be Brooks? Is it going to be Joyner? Is it going to be Van? I don't know. I mean, all of these guys have upside, and then they all have question marks, and none of them have done it. Your leading returning receiver had 11 catches for 100 yards last year. That is just a fact.
Tyler Knoll just made a comment, too. Jakari Caldwell is a guy who was pleasantly surprised to see in that 6-man rotation, too. I think he's another one. Big play potential.
Big body guy.
Yeah, a lot of these wide receivers, you just got to get them confident. You got to get a couple catches in there. And I'm hoping that Satterfield maybe can install, whether it's some swing passes or just screens, just to get the guys catching the ball, feeling comfortable. I think, I look at Jalen Brooks last year. We were really, really putting a lot of pressure on him to come in and be that number one wide receiver guy, or to partner with Shi Smith and really give us a dual attack. And there was just a lot of pressure on him. And I'm hoping that we can ease some of these guys in there, especially against the EIU. Get them enough catches. Get them to actually feel that ball hitting their hands. Williams-Brice Stadium, 80,000 fans, and some comfortable type routes. That'll be something to see. And then I think we can get some of these younger guys, because we've got a lot of young wide receivers that could potentially come in there and make some impact.
Who would you say do you think is most likely to step up and be the number one? Like if you had to pick one, because I had somebody, and again in our daily live streams, I had somebody say, well, you don't need a number one. They're just all going to be guys. But you do, though. Like you need to know who, in crunch time, who am I looking for, right? I mean, there's a difference between your number one guy and then your 2 and your 3. They're all good players, but you need that number one dude. Who would you say do you think is the most likely option to emerge as that true go-to threat?
Josh Stanton. I feel like if you look through
That's what I would have said, too.
If you look through the camp and what you've seen, the rave reviews from the coaching staff on him, I feel like this is his chance. This is his opportunity. He's been there. He's shown flashes, but I think this is.
Dude, I remember when he committed. I was so excited because his tape out of high school was insane. Like
All-American.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Tucker
he
Jordan.
played U.S. Army All-American game. Yeah. I think the biggest thing with Van is, again, I go back to the confidence. Get him a couple catches, comfortable catches, design things. Again, 5-yard hitch, something that's not going to – you're not asking for the big play ball early, but let these guys get comfortable and feel the ball hitting their hands, making the catch, and start getting some confidence. And I think Van's a guy that, if you go back and look at some of his highlights, he has made some big plays, not as much as every Gamecock fan would like, but he's somebody that can absolutely step up. And I think we were talking about it at Rita's, like Dak Joyner, that touchdown catch he had against Kentucky, I know we were getting blown out by 30, but to get that confidence at the end of the season last year, I think it was like a 33-yard touchdown catch, but to get that confidence for him to buy into that wide receiver role, you could tell how excited he was when he scored. That's another guy that, again, you get him enough confidence build up, Dak Jordan can make some plays too.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Dak. I think Dak's one of those guys that's most greatly going to benefit from a new coaching staff and just a new voice and a new regime, new era, if you will. Guys, I don't know how we've made it damn near 30 minutes into the show without mentioning the whole Zeb Nolan thing. And there's a GA suiting up and starting at quarterback tomorrow. That just we swept that under the rug a little bit. But, your overall thoughts. Again, it's the quarterback battle that none of us asked for. It obviously comes out this week that Zeb Nolan's getting the start, and there's certainly been some mixed reviews and from fans, whatever. I understand the decision from Shane Beamer because selfishly, yes, this is Shane Beamer's South Carolina debut. This is South Carolina's 2021 season opener. But guys, this is Shane Beamer's debut as a head football coach.
Yeah.
And he wants to make a good impression, which is why I do think South Carolina is going to take EIU back behind the woodshed and have a fun night and score a lot of points. But you have to imagine they want this thing, especially early on, to go as smoothly as possible. And who's the guy that gives you the best chance to do that? Well, I think what happened, they all sat around, they looked around the quarterback room after Doty went out and said, well, we've got a true freshman that was in high school last year, and we've got an FCS transfer, and we've got a walk-on. All due respect to walk-ons. And then we have this other guy that's actually played Power 5 football. And he played football just a couple of months ago up at North Dakota State, not too bad of a program, but it's weird. I'm going into tomorrow. I don't really even have expectations for Zeb Nolan. I don't really know what to think. It's one of the wilder situations you've ever seen. I think, though, he can be the guy that commands the offense. I'm not going to say game manager. I think he can be the field general, command the offense. Like I've said many times, take the keys to the car, do your thing, return it back to Luke Doty the way you found it. I think he gives you the best chance to do that, especially early in the game. But all the quarterbacks are going to play, too. I don't see the reason to get worked up over it. But your thoughts on Zeb Nolan? It's a crazy story.
So should we ask the team for the upstate if it's okay if we make a Disney movie 8 years from now about maybe a walk-on quarterback, kind of like they had to do with theirs? Just throwing that out there. But, listen, we talked about it earlier. It's really the best situations you can come into in the Shane Beamer era. Right? You're coming into a EIU game that really does not matter who you put back there as quarterback. You want someone to go in there to be a game manager, to control the huddle, to call an efficient offense. Don't put the ball on the ground. Just get plays in. And also, it depends on what Sat wants to do, whether he opens the book up. I don't really see us doing that. Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness. Look at this, guys. I tell you.
Undefeated service here.
Never fails out there. Absolutely.
Billy Hall himself handled it. How about that?
Not bad. You're going against a very inferior opponent, right? It really doesn't matter who you put back there. How about put the one guy who helped write the playbook or at least organize the playbook, who's very familiar with it, the last person to play any type of relevant football in the spring. No disrespect to Jason Brown. They haven't really touched field since 2019 either. So you're looking at somebody who's played last than anyone else in the quarterback room. He's got a good arm on him. You just want him to come in there this week, manage a game, just don't put the ball on the ground, and let's get to ECU next week, and hopefully for Doty to get back, which seems to be pretty optimistic at this point. But
wake me up when September. I'm telling y'all, Chris, we were having some conversations last night. I think, not to say people are underestimating Zeb, but what he's been able to come in and do over the last couple of weeks, I'm not saying he's pushing Luke Doty out of the starting spot, but kind of sounds like he actually has came in there and surprised some people how he's played. So I'm not saying wake me up when September ends, but I'm telling you, I'm curious to see when Luke Doty gets back and if Zeb has a great game on Saturday. Again, managing the offense, controlling the offense. My biggest thing, get the ball from center. Like, just all the small things. Like, I don't want us dropping the ball and just looking like just do the right things, right? Control the football. Don't make mistakes. That's all we're asking out of you. But if he comes out and has a big game, it'll just be curious to see if the whispers of Zeb sticking around a little bit longer continue to happen.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to like a well-oiled machine necessarily in week one because, again, it's week one for everybody. I mean, you hear coaches say, and it sounds like coach speak, but it is true. You make your greatest improvement as a football team from week one to week two. And Shane News made the point, you don't have a preseason to iron out kinks. You don't get scrimmages against other teams. So the first time you're doing it, it's live bullets. It's for real. So there will be things happen tomorrow. And, again, that's on the coaching staff. That's on this football team to play smart. That's why I said control the emotions, execute the fundamentals. Those things to me are the keys to the game. If you do that, you're going to have a successful night. But and I won't even get into like the whole. We could spend hours talking about the fan reaction and the Colin Hill 2.0 label. And I think we all agree this is a completely different situation than you saw a year ago. But truly the quarterback battle and quarterback controversy, if you will, that nobody really asked for. I was enjoying a preseason where we knew who QB1 was and not having to talk about it. And yeah, I mean, if Zeb Nolan goes out there and he goes 19 for 20 for 240 yards and a couple touchdowns, and you go into ECU week all of a sudden, and what do? And then if Luke Doty gets his job back, he goes out there and he struggles early in Greenville. God, it's just I'm sure Gamecock fans will react calmly and rationally.
I can see the Zeb chants now. Zeb.
Chris, I've been putting every bit of this quarterback issue on you. Because you talked about early during fall camp, you were going, man, I'm so glad to go into a season and not have a quarterback controversy. And then literally
I think it was that week later. It was that weekend.
Yeah, I think you did the show on Thursday, right? Monday, Thursday. And that Friday. We started hearing rumors about it. So,
just blame me.
That was on you.
Just blame me. Hey, that's fine. Just blame me. I'll take it. Whatever. Yeah. No, I literally was saying it, though.
I want to say this, though. Jason Brown stepping up and doing that press conference on Tuesday after not, obviously, I don't want to say, when Doty went down, his mindset was, hey, I'm the quarterback now. And I just want to commend him for the way he stepped up to that press conference, answered every question, took it like a man, just he did it very professional. And I think that's something that, again, I don't like referring back to our past head coach, but I think that's the culture change, right? That, hey, maybe if things aren't going your way, we're still going to let you face the limelight, right? Face the questions. And you're going to show that, hey, it's bigger than you. It's bigger than you not getting the starting job, but it's about the University of South Carolina in our program.
Now, defensively, let's move to the other side of the ball. Things you most want to see. Again, back to what Matt said. Now, I want to keep hammering that because it doesn't matter if South Carolina wins by 100 tomorrow. It doesn't mean they're going to be a 10-win team, right? You just can't draw conclusions from a game like this. But things you want to see defensively. Is there anything that stands out? Of course, I think all eyes, at least for me, are going to be on the defensive line. I mean, Otto Coons last week, guys, against Indiana State was sacked 5 times against their defensive line. I don't know if anybody can tell me what the single game record for sacks is for a South Carolina defense, but it might be in jeopardy tomorrow. Honestly, I don't really know what that number is, but I'm really looking forward to the defensive line. But is there anything that stands out to you, whether it be in a very inexperienced and new secondary? Is it? I'm very curious to see who's the guy that steps up the middle to replace a departed Ernest Jones. I think that's the most underrated loss on the defense. But I mean, is it aggressiveness? Is it turnovers? What do you want to see?
We were talking about this again. I think defensive line is you want to see a lot of pressure. You want to see. I would love to see double-digit sacks tomorrow. I don't think we're going to see that, but I just want I want our defensive line, a guy like Zach Pickens, getting a lot of confidence early. Again, getting Strawn a sack, Birch a sack. If we were able to get Birch to build up a little bit of momentum, I think that's huge.
Yeah.
My biggest, and we were talking about this, Brad Johnson at linebacker. Can he take the next step? Because we need, like you said, Ernest Jones was a huge loss, third-round pick for the Rams.
Nobody's talking about it. I think he was the heart and soul of that defense, really.
So can Brad Johnson, a guy, 4-star, coming out of high school, move to linebacker? He was one of those, like, tweeners. Can he step up and be a big-time playmaker? Because there was a lot of people, when he suited up in the Garnet and Black, saying Brad Johnson potentially could be a guy that could be one of our next big-time players on defense. So that's a name that keeps coming up over and over again in my head is, what can Brad Johnson do this year at linebacker? Because we can have our defensive line eating the blocks. We can have them running a perfect setup, up front. But if your linebackers can't make plays, then you just set yourself up for a long, long season. Brad Johnson, let's see what he can do this year.
I say this, Brad Johnson and Aaron Sterling, two guys that I feel like maybe they came in together. I don't know why I'm coupling them up, but I feel like they kind of not peaked, but were contributing for South Carolina kind of the same time a couple of years ago, and very high reviews on both of them. I'm excited to see what those guys can do for your defense. Matt, for you defensively, what sticks out? What do you want to see tomorrow night?
Yeah, to comment on what y'all said, Brad Johnson for one, and two, Marcelo style, right? You're coming into the SEC, you're going to be a guy expected to do something in the middle of that defense. You're coming into big boy football.
You got something you want to say to Gamecock fans before you leave?
So that's one.
You got something you want to say to Gamecock fans before you leave?
Yeah, I actually do.
Yeah, come on here.
Come on, Uva.
I'll give up my seat right here. How about that?
He's here.
Come sit
We're
right
tweeting
here.
about it.
We'll let
Folks,
you.
already know.
We're at home.
Mike
We're tweeting
Uva,
about
Columbia's finest. Mike Uva joining the set.
Emmy Award winner, too.
Yes, Emmy Award winner Mike Uva.
I
Yes.
do want to say this. Tomorrow, Kirk Hollingsworth is going to be recognized as the fan of the game, which I think is tremendous. He's going to his 344th straight USC football game, a streak that dated back in 1992 against Clemson. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible. And, obviously, Kirk's story, what makes it even more remarkable is the man has cerebral palsy. And, he's gone through so much, so to be able to go to all those games. But he just put this out a little while ago, so I just want to throw this out there. He's going to be presented a garnet jacket for the fan of the game at the 21-minute mark before the start of it, when the Carolina band goes down there. So, and I know the Gamecocks, they want you to be there from a fan perspective, but get your butt in the crowd and give Kirk the recognition he deserves, because that man has done so much for the last 3+ decades. So, Kirk Hollingsworth, game of the day, fan of the game. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Be early, be loud, and support Kirk. Anybody who's ever met Kirk, an amazing human being, just incredible. He's such an awesome dude.
If you want to see him before the game, he does tailgate at R2 Gear, so he'll be outside. If he talks about 90 tailgate, we will be there. Just throw that out there.
And he says he doesn't drink because that'd be drinking and driving with his scooter. So do that. I'm off to Peely and up to high school football.
Hey,
See you guys tomorrow.
Thank you. The great Mike Uva joining the set. How about Mike? Everybody in the chat loves it. Again, appreciate you guys tuning in digitally, by the way. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You guys know the drill. We do this every single day on this platform. Again, guys, really, really do appreciate you guys. Travi just commented, Tar Heels in a tussle with the Hokies. I don't have the score pulled up. But
Billy, I want you to get up here. Come on up here.
It is a long.
Come on up here.
For sure.
If you looked at that game last night from Ohio State and Minnesota, early Tennessee Bowling Green game, you said it's going to be a really rough day.
14-6 at halftime in the Tennessee Bowling Green game. If we are only up 14-6 at half,
I might just walk out. I really don't know how to handle it at that point.
I mean, I don't want to say that, but that's how I'm going to feel. I'm going to be honest.
I want to get – hey, so I got Billy right here behind me. First off, again, I know I said thank you earlier to the Halls family, but you all have done an incredible job here. This guy right here is excited about Gamecock football. Look at this right here. Look at this. We got beat Eastern Illinois. He's got the sticker on it.
6 wins. 6 wins.
There we go. That's why I want to get your prediction, Billy. Give us a prediction for the season for the Cox.
A little 6-6. 6-6.
We want 6-6 from Billy Hall. 6-6.
We're waiting for Stoops. We're waiting for UK to come in here and kick their ass.
I love it.
You heard that, Mark? We're taking you down.
I just want the O-line coach tonight. Hey, he needs to come in the night before the game.
Yeah.
He won't be seeing straight at
Walford.
I love it. Billy Hall, what a
Good to have
legend
you
he is.
guys.
Appreciate you having us out.
6-6 record prediction for Billy. I like that.
Mississippi State 7-5.
Oh, Billy is a Mississippi State
right.
grad. He's got 7-5.
That's fine.
With Mike Leach fighting
nothing against the
Bulldogs.
Bulldogs. I got nothing against the Bulldogs. Special teams. Let's talk special teams.
Oh.
Beamer ball. Nobody, it's funny. Beamer ball, where does it originate from? Of course, Frank Beamer, the special teams. Nobody's been talking special teams, I feel like, in the preseason. I know it's not the sexiest facet of the game to talk about and, trying to predict special teams for tomorrow, but what do you think? I'll put you on the spot. You think Cox get a special teams touchdown tomorrow?
No.
No special teams?
I'll tell you this. I'm looking forward to seeing that left-footed kicker or punter, Kyle Kroger. He guy's got a leg. He did well last year, too. I mean, Parker White.
Freshman All-SEC.
We've got a great special teams. I don't see us scoring a touchdown in Beamer ball first game, but you never know. I'm curious the return game, though. I mean, I think we got Dak Joyner back there and Juju. So I think
Josh Van is your punt returner.
And Josh Van is a punt returner. So I'm curious to see Juju's first big play might not be on offense, but on special teams. So that's something I'd probably be if I don't get too excited about special teams, but I'm getting really excited. Juju back there, maybe making people a couple miss.
It wouldn't shock me, but also wouldn't surprise me if we did.
Right.
You're looking at a team that's very undersized us, and we got boys real quick and talent back there. You got men back there who can run the ball. So, a block punt maybe or a kick return back for a touchdown. It wouldn't shock me if it happened. But do I go in the game ever expecting any special team score? Absolutely not. Do I expect us to run any trick plays tomorrow? Absolutely not.
No trick plays. Yeah, I'd probably say that's a safe bet. I will tell you, though, at some point this season, I really need a Luke Doty to Dak Joyner to Josh Van touchdown type of circa 2006 Mississippi State, Blake Mitchell to Savell to Corey Boyd. I'd love to see that happen. Fun question I've posed to our listeners and followers, guys. I'll ask you this. What is the minimum score that South Carolina needs to win by tomorrow for you to walk out of Williams-Brice Stadium all warm and fuzzy like you feel right now? But what's that? Again, you can't draw conclusions from tomorrow, but if you don't go out there and handle your business, it's going to be, oh boy. You know what I mean?
We got to obviously just win Al Davis, but at the same time, you got to at least put up 40 points. Right. I mean, that's
34-7.
Oh, we got Billy saying 34-7. We got to at least put up 40 points. The spread 42.5. I put out my prediction. I don't know if we cover that, but if you're gonna, I will tell you this: if you were betting on the Cox tomorrow with the 42.5, I'll be praying for you because I'll probably do it walking into the stadium tomorrow. I'll have enough.
He'll live bet it.
I'll have
Jeff
enough live
bet it.
I'll have enough live base.
He'll wait till EIU goes up 7-0, and then he hammer South Carolina.
He watched me do it last night with Ohio State, and we were having a good time.
First of all, if you can find many outlets who's going to be covering that game, power to you for that.
I was shocked we even found a line, to be honest. I was shocked. So,
I don't like anything in the 30s, and really not even the 40s. If you're 48, sounds a bare minimum. You can't let EIU get the double digits past 10.
No,
10,
I agree.
10 is your max. I'd really like to be in the 50s. Anywhere in the 50s to 10, I feel really good going, hey, okay, you beat a team that you should have beat by a lot.
Yeah.
And you at that point, you're kind of looking, all right, we're getting the second half. We're putting a bunch of seconds, thirds, fourths in. So you don't really expect to run the score up there unless they just can't stop a run. So anything, I'd say around 50 mark, just shy of that, just over that, but don't let up any more than 10 points.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, the stat for tomorrow, average number of cold beverages consumed up against points EIU will score. I think the average number of cold beverages consumed, take that one for sure. 42.5, man. 42. What a spread. Corey Miller, you think I wonder if you ever played in a game where the Gamecocks were favored by 42.5. What do you think, Corey? Did you ever play in a game where you guys were favored by 6 touchdowns? You think that ever happened? Or 6 touchdown underdogs, maybe? That's something. Whatever. Yeah, 42.5. What a spread. No, we can get into predictions, though. I heard you bring yours up. I posted mine a little bit earlier. Hey,
let's do an EIU prediction score, and then let's talk about the season a little bit.
Yeah,
how about
for
that?
sure. Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you take it.
I put this out Wednesday. I feel like it's a heartbreaker for bettors. I feel like we win 52-10, and we lose by half a point to cover the spread. I've had a prophecy that we do that, and that's why I don't want to bet on the game, but I think I still am. But 52-10.
a heartbreaker for all the South Carolina EIU bettors, all 4 of them that are probably
Well, because I think it's going to be like a late field goal. I think it will be like 52-7, and EIU will want to get to like double digits. So it's like maybe a 23-second field goal that they'll get that 10 points and cover. So.
If EIU shanks that field goal and you see like a pocket of the stadium go insane, it's like they had the number. They had the number. What do you think will happen tomorrow night? What do you got?
If this was a game that we would have a starting quarterback and we pull him, we don't really care if we throw the football and we can just run for 4 quarters, then, yeah, I would probably take the under at 42.5. But the fact that we still need to build confidence outside, and you're not going to tell guys like Juju who come in there or Xavier, guys who are your second, third, fourth string running backs, not to run the ball. So I think Carolina covers, and I think it's you're in the 50s. I think we could touch 60 tomorrow and we run around like a 58-10. We covered 40.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it all week, and I'll say it again. This is a name your score game for South Carolina. This is an empty your bench type of game. Everybody should play, which is going to be awesome. I think there's going to be a lot of guys that see the field tomorrow night that may not see the field the rest of the season, which is great, though. It's great for recruiting, and it's great for overall team morale. But it's a name-your-score type of game. South Carolina, top to bottom, is the more talented team. It's a completely different level of football. And it's been funny to see, David has seen, he's tuned into our lives, the jaded Gamecock fans that have watched enough South Carolina football to say, I don't know, we don't play well in season openers. You can't assume anything with Carolina football. And it's like, I'm telling you, though, this is probably the worst team South Carolina's played in the last 20 years.
Charleston Southern for sure.
We looked over those stats together, and it's ugly what they don't have anybody, and that's why we tried to. I didn't even want to talk about it that much Wednesday night when we were recording because there's just really nothing to talk about with EIU.
Yeah, the only thing they really have, I saw in their first game, they do have a wide receiver that had like 120 yards that transferred in from UNC Charlotte. So maybe if you want to talk about that. But again, this game's all about South Carolina. Again,
hey, hand me that schedule over there. I want to do this. Let's do some game-by-game stuff.
Yeah.
I have it memorized, but I'm just going to go ahead and say myself.
So you were talking about EIU, right? I mean, I run numbers back to 2014. The last time they played a Power 5 team in 19, they lost 52-0.
This is big-time
52-0 to Indiana. Right.
Really?
Last year they played 6 games during the spring, 1-5.
Thank you very much.
2019, 1-11. 2018, 3-8, and it just goes on and on. The most wins they've had back to 2016 was 7 one time. 2014, 7 one time and 6 twice. Yeah. So they're a bad program. Yeah, they got some names that come out of there. Sean Payton. Shane Beamer mentioned about Sean Payton being the quarterback when his dad was still at Murray State, his last game against EIU. They've had Jimmy Garoppolo. They had Tony Romo. Walter Payton Award winner. They've had some players that come through that program. Yeah. But since Jimmy G left in 2013, 2012, 2013, it's been a absolutely train wreck. Yeah.
And who's had more quarterbacks drafted in the NFL draft? Gamecocks or EIU in the last 20 years?
EIU. South Carolina hasn't had a quarterback drafted since a guy named Todd Ellis took the field.
Who we listen to every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
One of my quarterbacks I love, Anthony Wright. He's still one of my favorites. I'll tell you that.
You probably, most successful certainly at that position, but you can argue the most successful Gamecock ever, at least one of them.
At quarterback, when he was with Dallas, it was almost like, shoot, where was this guy in the Gamecock? He didn't play well for the Gamecocks, but he elevated it up, obviously, when he went to the NFL.
I'm going to make one comment again and talk about this spread of 42.5, right? Do not be surprised if Carolina has a good first half, which I expect they should, to get into a second half running clock scenario, which may put you in a difficult spot if you're really trying to take that over. But there's a chance, and I could foresee that really happening, that we get the second half in a running clock, and that's just – it is what it is. I don't expect that over at that point, if that happens.
Yeah, if you take the 42.5, you are basically banking on that South Carolina's backups are going to have just as much success as the starters. They won't keep the starters in there 42-0, I don't think. But 56-10 is what I'm locked in at. I just really think Shane Beamer, in his debut, like I said, as a head coach, he wants to start things in style. Of course, the Gamecock Nation, Gamecock fan base has all this positivity and positive momentum, positive energy. And I certainly don't see Shane Beamer as one being a guy that wants to kill that momentum in any type of way. I think he wants to add gasoline onto the fire, and I think he'll do that. I think they keep the foot on the gas pedal. I see 56-10, but again, it's a name-your-score game. And if South Carolina wants to score 70, they can do it. So it should be a really fun night tomorrow.
Hey, let's do this, like I said, game by game. And we can just do quick hitters, right? You don't have to give your score prediction. But game by game, we'll be able to do it. We're going to get Caitlin's prediction. I'm going to get Corey's prediction. Let's do this, game by game. All right, EIU, we all got W's. East Carolina, just got beat by App State last night.
App State's a good team.
Billy Hall will tell you that App State's a good team.
Very good team.
East Carolina surrendered 6.4 yards per carry against Appalachian State, and Holt Naylors was running for his life all night. I've been saying all preseason it's the most pivotal game of the season, not because I'm insinuating South Carolina is going to lose. I think it's a game you should win, but it's not a must win. It's a you cannot lose it and get to 6 wins. But with that being said, I think South Carolina in the trenches, they'll win the football.
All right, so you got win right here, ECU.
Yeah, I got a win against ECU too.
I got a win against ECU as well.
2-0, Gamecocks.
And well, I'll tell you this, it furthered my thought process about the game last night. That and ECU's got a good team, but I think that although we've been 4-8 and 2-8 the last 2 years, we've still got players. I mean, Carolina's still got big-time talent on our team, and again, I think they're going to give us everything we can handle.
ECU's coming off an absolute beatdown by App State at a neutral site in Charlotte, right? South Carolina's going to be coming off of basically what you call tune-up game. They opened up a new series, a new coaching staff, a new regime, right? And if you look at that, I would gladly take South Carolina in that ball game.
And
just based off of that.
Quick shout-out, we'll have Mike on the CB90 podcast, head coach of ECU next week. I can't wait to do that. So, all right, game 3, Between the Hedges. 2 years ago, Will Muschamp was able to take a beaten, battered, and fighting Gamecock team Between the Hedges and upset them. Can we do it again?
The Izzy McQuamu game, 2019. It's funny, just a quick story on that. I thought about going to that game, and instead we threw a watch party at Tannehill's Group Therapy, which was awesome, by the way, and a great memory. But the reason I didn't go, I was like, well, we're a 24.5-point dog. let me just throw the watch party instead. And, of course, we go on to win, and probably the greatest upset in school history. But no, I think Georgia, I'm a believer in Georgia this year. I hate to say that, but I think Kirby has his quarterback in JT Daniels. I got to be honest with you guys, I think Carolina gets punched in the mouth. I think this is the first bit of adversity. South Carolina does have players, but they're not. South Carolina's not there yet, and it's okay. If you are a fan and you think for some reason the Gamecocks are on Georgia's level, I'd advise you to take the Garnet glasses off and have a harsh look at reality. But no, South Carolina will run into adversity in Athens, and this will be a game that it's going to be more about. You're probably going to lose, but how does the game go? I just want to see a team fight, scratch, and claw for 60 minutes. And even if you lose by 3 or 4 touchdowns, it's one of those. Did you make Georgia earn every single yard they get? Because I feel like too often you've just seen the Gamecocks last couple of years be non-competitive at all in those games. But I got a loss. I think Georgia's for real, and South Carolina's just not quite there yet when it comes to the roster and the depth especially.
You look at that game in 19, right? Brian Edwards with a huge long touchdown from Ryan Holinsky. You look at that. Izzy McCormick with 3 picks. Why is Holinsky still our quarterback? Yeah. I don't even get Let's not get going there. You got Izzy McCormick had 3 picks, a pick 6 in that game, who's now at the Dallas Cowboys. Right? You have J.C. Horn on the other side of the ball, who's probably going to be a starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers this year, is a rookie in the NFL. Right? That game itself, you had understandable guys in the defensive secondary. You had wide receivers who are now playing in the NFL with Brian Edwards. This year, your question marks, wide receiver, defensive back. Georgia has probably one of the best defensive lines as well coming in this season, and I've seen South Carolina once again coming off of possibly 2 wins to start the season and a high confidence. But you're going up against a team who's already going to have played one of the best teams in the country, the team in the upstate. I hate to say that, but it is what it is.
We'll be 24-point dogs.
Yeah,
very similar to what 2 years ago.
Same as in 19, but at 19, it just felt to me we had a lot more weapons and just somehow pulled that off. I was there, and it was a crazy
perfect scenario too. Noon game, you kind of felt like you caught Georgia napping a little bit.
Rodrigo Blankenship missing 3 kicks that game also kind of helped us out a little bit. Which is one of the best kickers that ever come through Georgia.
I'm going to pull my Reese Davis card, and I'm going to say, let's speed this up, guys. We can talk.
You
guys can talk. We all can talk Carolina football all day long.
I don't see us even covering at 24 points if that's what it's going to be. I don't even see us getting that.
So. I see that being a 42-10 game.
Absolutely.
All right, next game. This will be – so we're 2-1. Everybody's a consensus 2-1. And you're coming back home. First SEC game in Williams-Brice Stadium under Shane Beamer. We got the Kentucky Mark Stoops fighting Wildcats. Again, we don't need an analysis. We'll have plenty of
What's
that.
What's your picking? I'm curious.
We beat Kentucky at home.
I've got a loss.
Okay, so we got win, loss.
I got to win in that. He could beat Muschamp, but I don't think he can beat Beamer. Talking about Stoops.
That's just a big – that's a big game, and I think there's going to be a lot of positive momentum heading in there just with the crowd, the electricity.
You want a full stadium? That'll be it.
All right, so we got –
I think prime for a night game, too.
So we got 3-1, 3-1, 2-2. All right, Troy,
Win.
Win. 4-1,
3-2.
3-2, 4-1. At Tennessee.
I've got a dub. I think it's a really close game. That's been a house of horrors for us, but God, Tennessee's depleted. Their roster is tough. I got a dub. I think Carolina pulls it out.
I kind of want to say that after watching them play Bowling Green.
14-6.
I'm going to go off of my preseason, not including the game they played last night.
Right.
I have going to Tennessee as a loss. And I'm not going to use last night as any bias against what I originally thought.
Right.
We're going to stay with it.
Yep, and I have that loss too as well.
Okay.
I broke it down like we talked about. I broke it 4 3-game seasons. We have to go 2-1 between Kentucky, Troy, and Tennessee. I think we.
So we all have a 4-2 start then in the first six.
So now,
Okay.
yeah.
I was
So
going to say
now
last
we're
night
4-2.
almost changed my mind, but I'm going to stay with what my preseason picks was.
That's fair.
So
Just
now
for
we're
this
4-2. You've already hit the over at Gamecock. Total team wins 3.5, and we're only halfway through the season. What do we know that Vegas doesn't? I'm still questioning that. We've got Vanderbilt at home, homecoming on the 16th.
Dub. Vandy sucks.
Easy.
Vandy sucks.
Don't even know why you asked that one.
This-
Just say wins across the board and keep going.
This is the next one.
I will say
This is the next
you
game.
wanna speed it up?
Point this out real
Right through
quick.
that
Point
game.
this out real quick. 5-2. Dream start in the
This is-
That's a
this-
dream start.
5-2. I mean,
That's
that
a
would be
dream
amazing.
start.
This schedule sets up extremely well for Shane Beamer to build a lot of confidence with Gamecock Nation early on, and
We
which is
mentioned
what I
that
love.
last week too. First half of the schedule is going to make or break
You
the
gotta-
season.
you have to
period.
take advantage of it.
You have
You have
to.
to
Yeah,
take
no
advantage.
All
choice.
right, this is where it starts to get a little dicey.
Yeah.
At A&M.
That's an L. A&M's a lot like Georgia. I mean, they're maybe not at that level yet, but and South Carolina's had no
$9
success.
million
against
head coach Jim
Yeah.
Mofisher.
Yeah, that's a loss.
Overpaid.
Overpaid.
Yeah,
Overpaid.
overpaid.
Underpaid. Billy and I talked about this. The guy's getting over $9 million. Hasn't even been to the college football playoff at A&M.
Haven't even won a freaking division.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money to give a coach.
He's doing a great job, and nobody's knocking on his door.
Yeah. They wanted him out of Florida State. They didn't even want him there.
I was there.
All right.
I think a lot of what they're banking on there is that Nick Saban's eventually going to retire, and this Jimbo's show at Texas A&M at that point. But like this year, I have them pushing Alabama. Like pushing them. I think Bama beats them and still goes to the SEC championship.
Do the Gamecocks push A&M or not?
Hell no.
I think very similar to the Georgia game, 45-10.
Yeah, it's just ugly.
All right, this is one of my. We'll say this. How about this? Florida at home.
And Jake Fromm.
I think this serves as the best potential for a big upset and a hang your hat type of game for Shane Beamer. Florida coming off the Georgia game. We're coming off a bye week, by the way. I'm not ready to pick South Carolina to win that game yet. Of course, that's later in the season, so who knows what could happen by that point. But I got to pick Florida right now. They still have players. Florida's still got talent. I got to go Gators.
So we're 5-3, 5-3. Now 5-4 for you.
Yeah.
What about Florida?
I have Florida at a loss, but I think it is the best chance of a big game upset South Carolina has, based off of the situation of that game. Bye week, world's largest cocktail party the week before. That to me is the biggest chance, but I don't have us quite pulling that one out if I had to predict it, but I could see it.
The game sets up extremely well
Yes.
for. Again, I reference back to 2005, Spurrier's first year, upset in Florida at home. We get Florida at home again. A program that's, top 2 in the SEC East for the past couple of years. You got them coming off the cocktail party. We're coming off a bye. It does set up well. I still have a loss there. So,
Yeah, Florida's coming to they play Samford the week after us. It's not like they're playing us and they're in the middle of a trap game between two big matchups. It's really Georgia and then, all right, we got 2 wins here. So, but we'll see.
all right, so we're 5-4, 5-4, 5-4.
Yep, all the way, all across.
At Missouri, Eli Drinkwitz.
I've got a
Fighting
loss.
Tigers.
I just hate that road trip for some reason. I don't know why. I don't think Mizzou's some world beaters, but I think that's a game I could see our secondary struggling. I think their
Look at
passing
the
game is
service
pretty
right here.
solid.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
service is
much.
incredible. I've got a loss. I hate the road trip. I don't know what it is. So I'm 5-5.
The ladies want to know, do you sell Beamer ball caps?
On the store, yes. I'll be over there after the show. Yeah, give me a couple minutes. Yes.
Look at that. He's selling merch while he's in the middle of the podcast. This guy.
The answer is yes.
We're gonna,
I'll give you
we're going to
10%.
get your
Corey.
predictions here in a second now once we pick
I'll get
this
your
up.
NIL deal.
All right, here we go. So, at Missouri, I think it's a loss.
What do you got?
Yeah, it's a loss to me. Eli Drinkwitz is like the Magic Rose in SEC right now, but I don't like that road trip.
5-5 all the way around. We've got to find one win in the last 2 against some Tigers. Auburn at home. Mike Bobo coming back. to a place that people probably don't want to come back to.
All my homies hate Mike Bobo.
What we got, guys?
I've got South kind of getting that 6th win. I said it last year, and I picked it as like a 1-point loss. I was like, Auburn just doesn't scare me for some reason. And the game being at home, and I kind of feel the same way. Last year, like I said in the preseason, I picked it as a loss. I'm picking it as a dub this year. There's nothing about Auburn I look at and say, wow, it doesn't jump out at me. And I think at this point in the season, South Carolina's rolling. You have your identity. Obviously, you're at the end of the year. I think we find a way to get that 6th win.
There's a chance Auburn can come in that game at 5-5. If you look at,
I don't think Auburn's going to be a great team this year. Yeah.
Number 2, I have zero respect or trust in Bo Nix to do anything at Auburn, and I think this is the Tank Bigsby versus Kevin Harris show to find out who's really the best running back in the SEC. And I also don't like Mike Bobo, so yeah, I'm definitely going.
Marshawn Lloyd at that time too.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, but I'm definitely going. I think this is your chance. This is it. Compared to Florida, this game is probably the best one. I think of the two.
Yeah, I got Auburn as a win. I think that this is one that at the end of the day, it's between Auburn and Florida. One of those have to fall for us to get to the 6th win. So we're 6-5, and you've got the Clemson Tigers. Very rare back-to-back appearance. We skipped a year, but back-to-back. In Columbia, they might. Who knows?
Same situation as Georgia. You're just not there roster wise yet. I hate to say it. Shane Beamer's first rivalry game though. Can he bring back just some flavor to it? You know, this has been a game fans haven't even looked forward to it during rivalry week. And when you reach that point, the apathy state, and it's been a shame. Honestly, it really has. So I'll just be excited to see can Shane Beamer. God, can you just put some fear into Clemson? I mean, it hasn't even been a second half game at any point outside of Jake Bentley 500-yard game in Death Valley. So I think it's a loss. I think Clemson will pull away late, but a lot like I said about Georgia, I'm more curious to see how we play. Do we make Clemson sweat? And if nothing else, whatever. Maybe they win by 21, 24, but after that game, you want Clemson saying, man, I mean, Carolina made us earn every yard, every point. We don't want to see them again, you know. So I'll be more curious to see how we play in that.
From the talent level, they have us hands down on that point. Keep it respectable, but play hard. At least put effort. Don't just go in that game going, we're going to get blown out, no big deal, and then get blown out. Like keep it respectable, play hard, and at least show that you are willing to play them snap for snap as hard as you can. Yeah, they should beat you by a lot, but keep it respectable and give effort. That's all I can say out of that game. And that's it.
So 6-6 across the board.
So y'all are 6-6, 6-6. Yep. I'm going to tell you this: we're beating Clemson. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I really want to see Billy's face right there.
Cox by 9.
No, I think so. For the Clemson game, my biggest ask, right? A team in the Upstate. We've been out of it so early, so quickly in those games that you don't even give the fans a chance to get in it, right? So my biggest wish, ask, pray, whatever you want to call it, is that we keep it competitive in the first half to still have the fans. Because, again, the last couple of games, 28-3, I mean, by halftime, already being up by 4 touchdowns. So 6-6, 6-6, 6-6.
All I ask in the Carolina Clemson game, too, is let's not let Williams-Brice be orange. I just at least don't sell your tickets.
Who wants to come up first?
I think that's probably going to be a 12 o'clock kickoff game. Right. I really expect that. And I'm going to say one thing on all these picks that we just did. You got the man over here whose podcast and page is Cox by 90.
Yeah.
Shouldn't
we're betting on the Cox. Caitlin, come take my spot right here.
Your EIU score of the 50s to 10 should always
I was just looking at all your records that you hold for me. Yeah, and that's pretty dang. That's a long list. So, Caitlin, come right here.
Caitlin, going to join the set here. Give us some predictions. Give us a prediction for the season.
This is a great Gamecock.
Hey, we have Gamecocks on the show. We might get Caitlin on next. I have players from all sports. Maybe we'll talk a little Gamecocks on this golf. Yeah. I'm a huge golfer.
All right, so we've got the season right there. Let's get game by game. It's okay. All right, first game EIU.
Do I just say if we win?
Yeah, just WL.
All right, win tomorrow.
Yeah.
East Carolina.
Win.
2-0, Georgia.
Loss.
2-1, Kentucky at home.
Win.
3-1, Troy.
Win.
4-1, Cox. Beamer era is absolutely ecstatic at 4-1.
I'm all about it.
Literally, Columbia might. I mean, this place. There's be
balls might burn to the ground.
Well, I mean, there won't be a reservation. I mean, it'll be insane. All right, here we go. So we got a 4-1 start at Tennessee.
Do we win that? Okay, win.
Oh, 5-1 start. This is
My fiance
literally.
knows more than I do.
I love it. All right, so 5-1 start. Vanderbilt.
Oh, we win that one.
6-1.
Gamecocks
Beamer
are
is
bowl
6-1.
eligible.
Yeah.
But you're seeing now that's a very manageable
But
first half.
then lost.
At A&M,
Lost.
Florida lost. So 6-3. Missouri. We're 6-3. A lot of momentum.
Michael.
You want to phone a
Corey
friend?
said win.
Whoa, 7-3 now. 7-3.
I-
7-3. Auburn is coming to Columbia. Mike Bobo.
I
Nobody
think
wants
we
to see
can
it.
win 8. Why are you saying yes?
Uh-oh. Can we do it? Can we beat Auburn?
I
It's at home.
I think we have a chance.
Yes, let's go.
We have a chance.
let's go.
And
Look
we-
at this.
and we
chance.
lose the last one.
So 8-4 prediction right here. How about that?
Thank you,
That's
Caitlin,
good
for
time.
setting improper expectations about our audience.
Cox by 9. This is a true Cox by
Hey,
90
a
right
true
here.
South Carolina fan
Yes,
right there. That's
yes,
it.
eternal optimist.
Everyone
Thank
who's
you.
here will run through a brick wall for this
Yes,
game.
yes.
So.
Halls will be shoulder to shoulder at 8-4.
Caitlin comes off the tour to come to the
Yes,
Yes.
Caitlin comes off to sure.
Yes.
Guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up on the live stream again. Thank you so much, Billy Hall. Thank you, Hall's Chophouse Columbia. Appreciate you guys. Let's give
Thank you.
Billy Hall and everybody here involved a round of applause.
Appreciate y'all being here.
Yeah,
Incredible
absolutely.
stuff. Again, those tuned in digitally, thank you guys so much. Again, don't forget, Seawells is the spot to be tomorrow. Seawells. Come to
I
Seawells.
don't know.
Or wherever your tailgate is. Hey, I hope you have a great time. Be safe out there. Jay's Corner, though, 3 to 4 will be live again, breaking everything down. Appreciate you guys. Again, thank you so
Thank
much to
you.
everybody. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate
That's
it.
it. Wrap it up.
Hey,
Have a great night.
right there.
Don't drink too much.
Thanks.
8-4.
Hey.
Appreciate you guys.